This time in BrainSnack. Clowns. Clown-like figures have been around for at least 4,000 to 5,000 years, but the modern clown as we know it is about 200 years old. Ancient civilizations such as Egypt, Greece and Rome already had figures that resembled clowns. They were often jesters or comic figures who entertained the elite or the public. They often wore colorful clothing and a jester's hat, and were the only ones allowed to mock the king or orange-skinned presidents without being punished. These jesters are precursors of the modern clown. Amelia Butler is best known for being the first female American circus clown that we have records of. Little of her or her family is known. However, it has been said that her father was a jester by the name of John Wells and possibly is related to Gerard Butler, who actually played the clown in The Phantom of the Opera. Lulu Adams was a British circus performer and one of the first female clowns. Lulu was born into a family with a long-standing tradition in the circus and variety scene. Her grandmother was the first tightrope artist to perform at the Brighton Hippodrome. Her mother was an acrobatic equestrian and wire walker. Lulu herself actually wanted to work as an IT professional, but that didn't exist yet and Dr. Emmett Brown wasn't there to take her there. Rodeo clowns date back to the early days of competitive rodeo in the early 20th century, when promoters would hire cowboys to entertain audiences. Rodeo clowns must be fast and agile. Mimes are unfortunately not suited. The rodeo clowns are often seriously injured, sometimes even fatally. Here you see the growth stages in the creation of a mime clown. The last stage is usually the most dangerous. These are not only unsuitable for rodeo but also no longer suitable for children's parties or circuses. At these circuses Jack Pudding became famous after the mime clowns dropped out and were to remain in a box. A classic in clown history. He was so loved that a dessert was named after him. Who doesn't recognize it? The clown who sprays a jet of water in your face from a flower. Hilarious and it never gets boring. Or countless clowns who come out of a much too small car. How does that fit? This is the secret of the blacksmith and will probably never be known. The sale of vans for large families and sports clubs could collapse with this. Did you know that clowns paint their faces on eggs to register them, so that other clowns can't use the same face? There is a register of eggs with faces in both Europe and the United States. Thanks to Bob Ross they have become little works of art, although not everything went well right away. There are no mistakes, only happy accidents. The collection of eggs is kept in a vacuum room because of the intense smell. Last but not least also because the Easter Bunny can't get to them and has to paint his own eggs before he hides them. Another work of art is the painting of 8 clowns sitting at a Last Supper before they give a grand performance in the evening. The similar work of art with Jesus is said to be based on this. With well-known clowns like Bassie, Mr. Mime, Willy Wonka and Ronald McDonald, every country has its own favorite clown. They were not invited to the Last Supper. For the latter this was reason enough to set up his own luxury restaurant. Coulrophobia, also known as fear of clowns, is common in children, but also in teenagers and adults. Research reveals that a quarter of adults feel anxious when seeing a clown. For many people, the fear stems from the fact that they cannot see their facial expressions through their makeup. We cannot see their true face and therefore do not understand their emotional intentions. The clowns in hospitals are there to make you laugh, to ease the pain, not to give you the illusion that they are the ones who operated on you. Enough about the exciting stuff, back to the happy brain snacks. Charlie Chaplin was not only a great astronaut and chef, but also a talented actor and clown. He is especially unintentionally funny in a way that only he, Mr. Bean and Sheldon Cooper can. In the movie The Circus he entertains the audience with a lot of fiddling with circus animals and witticisms. There is no one who does not love Charlie Chaplin. Ronald McDonald is a mascot chosen in 1963 on the TV show America's Got Talent to promote the fast food chain McDonald's, in fact to be the face of gluttony with a smile. In the beginning, mainly living clowns were used for that purpose. Willard Scott ate thousands of Big Macs in his time as the friendly clown. Not that they use deceased clowns nowadays they are statues of plastic or cardboard. But of course there are also stuffed animals for sale of clowns, mass-produced clowns but also the hand-crocheted clowns. That is however only reserved for the greatest of the earth. Just like the talent to make music for a whole orchestra on your own. Fortunately there are clowns with multiple hands, for example, which makes this a lot easier. To be fair, these multi-handed clowns were not allowed in the record attempt to throw as many pies at each other with as many people as possible. Due to food waste, they cleverly used shaving foam pies to lick your whiskers off, or shave them off. Who doesn't like to relax after a long day, do something with friends other than playing pranks? Maybe you didn't know it yet, but clowns are actually real people who can also enjoy a game of basketball, for example. A clown who wipes his face paint off transforms back into his normal self and goes back to his normal name. For example, Hank, Tom, JD or Steven are common names. There are even clowns whose real names are Muhammad, Javier, Gustav or Klaus. At the end of the day, we are all people who cry, laugh, cuddle or drink ourselves to sleep. The clown in this picture was so sad after a day of shopping for gloves. It turns out to be so hard to find a right hand glove for 6 fingers. Luckily there is a beer and a snack. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the brain snack about clowns. Probably you will like the next videos even more.